Welcome to the True Grime Stories podcast, where in every episode, we'll unravel a new mystery of cleaning business transformation from a grimy mess to a great success. Join me, your host, Jeannie Henderson, as together we dig up cleaning business secrets that you've been dying to know. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of True Grime Stories. I am so glad you're here because today we have a great guest, and we are going to be having the kind of episode where we're going to solve a grime scene instead of talk about a grime scene that's already solved. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to begin working with our guest today. And our guest is Ryan Shankle. He's with Golden Rule Cleaning in Waynesville, North Carolina. Did I say that right? Is it Waynesville
Golden Rule
or
Cleaning Co. We just have the co at the very end.
Oh, co. Okay. And then is it Waynesville or Waynesville?
Waynesville.
Waynesville. Okay, good. Waynesville, North Carolina. And so Ryan and his wife, Elizabeth, have been in business for years. And faith really is a big part of their business. I know Ryan's going to share a lot about that. They're proud parents of 3 with 1 on the way. So not only a business, but a busy household. And they are just a really values-based residential cleaning company. And so I can't wait to dive in and hear how we can help Ryan and Elizabeth and their team continue to grow. So welcome, Ryan. Thank you so much for taking time to be here.
Thank you for having me, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So we were talking a little bit before we got started, and Ryan started to kind of tell a little bit about their origin story. I think it's kind of unique. And so I would love to hear about that. How did you guys get started in the cleaning business?
So it goes back to when we were in Colorado, and we had built a tiny home on wheels. And with that, we had just had our first daughter. Our second daughter was on her way. We knew 165 square feet was not going to work.
Wow. So you were really living in one of those tiny houses like they show on TV, right?
Yep. We built it ourselves. We were living in it. We lived in it for about a year. My oldest daughter has a seizure disorder, and we just needed to be in an area where there was more, I guess, like hospitals and stuff that she can help her with. So while we were up there, we learned we were having our second, and we realized we were going to have to sell the tiny home. We met with a mentor who said, you have 2 options with the money that you're going to get. You can either use it to build something, or you can put it towards a house. Well, I've never been one to work for people. I've just never really agreed with some decisions that they had to make. And so
I have that problem too.
Yeah. And so we decided that we were going to use it to build something. And originally we thought that we were going to do Airbnbs, glamp sites and stuff like that.
Oh, fun. Yeah, it would be fun.
And we had an investor. The mentor is also an investor. So he invested in business, and he told us that we should go and travel to an area that we both liked, but also knew that we could work, right? So use it as a business expense. And so we did. We planned a trip from Greenville, Spartanburg to Sevierville to Asheville. The whole time we were staying on glamp sites, getting ideas for the business, and just kind of planning the whole thing out. Market research, really.
And what a fun market research trip. That sounds amazing.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. While we were at the second Airbnb stay, it turns out that they falsified their photos on Airbnb. So it was not at all what it looked like on the Airbnb site. And we said, we can't stay here. It was in the middle of a space that did not seem safe, where, Elizabeth was pregnant and we had a 1.5-year-old. Just not ideal. So we decided to shift. We started heading towards Asheville, and we ended up in a small little town. And it turns out to be in Waynesville. And we went over towards Asheville. We go, I do not like it here. Let's go back to Waynesville. So we kept going back, kept
Really?
going back. And that's how we ended up here. But
Wow.
along the trip to the next Airbnb, the investor called and he goes, I do not want to mix investment with uh, mentorship or friendship, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
had grown to be good friends. And so he was backing out. And the dreams of being an Airbnb owner with glam sites and other smaller businesses within it kind of went down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And he threw out the idea of, what about a cleaning business? Well, if you ask me if I know the first thing about cleaning, I'm going to tell you no. And I thought at the time
Yeah.
that cleaning was only $15 an hour and you're not going to be paid much. I go, I can't pay my bills with that. Right.
Right.
And so we really were like, when I
Why
say we
did
were,
why did your mentor suggest it?
because we were planning on doing a smaller one underneath the glamp sites. So we were going to keep everything
Because you're
internal,
gonna have your own like cleaning division.
cleaning division within the business of the glam sites. But
Yeah.
he goes,
Okay.
why don't you just do that as your business? I go,
Okay.
and he goes, like, hire a couple of Mexican ladies, you pay them under the
Oh my
counter,
goodness.
this and that. I'm like, this sounds like a mess and doesn't seem like something that we really are good at. Well, God had different plans. He always does this. And at the next Airbnb stay, we had picked up a local paper. And within the
Mhm.
paper, there was a newspaper article that said, not enough good cleaners in the area.
Wow.
And we
Wow.
just said, we looked at each other, our eyes widened, and we were like, uh, okay, God, I'm like,
Yeah, that is kind of a God
clear,
tap, isn't it?
clear as
Like,
can be.
yeah.
Let's just dive in. And ultimately, every decision that we've made has been Him. I can't claim any of it. And He's gotten us through a bunch of crazy times.
Yeah.
And so we started the business, but it didn't go as planned, right? You create a professional website, you get training. You know, we first started with Glisten Academy up out of Canada, and then we
Mhm.
ended up with CBF. And
Mhm.
like I said, best decision if you're ever planning on starting a cleaning company, definitely join CBF. Cannot say enough great things about Debbie and any of the coaches there, especially Jeannie here. So,
Of course.
but
But no, I agree with you. Like, it's just been such a great experience too. So I know what you
mhm,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so um, throughout it, we started off and it was a rough start.
Did
About
you
three,
clean in the field at
yeah,
first?
my
Did
wife
you?
and I
Okay.
cleaned.
Mhm.
We had a delayed start because she had our second child, Lily, and we actually wore her on our backs as we were cleaning.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and so, not something I would recommend, but definitely something that
A lot of people do it.
really, yeah, we just grinded it out.
Yeah.
But about 3 months in, um, my oldest daughter had a series of seizures in the
Mm.
span of about 3 days. She ended up in the hospital. We paused the business.
Mhm.
And at that point, there was a time where we had $0, well, not zero, about $9 in our bank account. And we were
Yikes.
like,
Wow.
what is going on? Where are the clients? Why is this not working? You called us to do this. You gave us a sign. Why is this not working? And went to the hospital. God solved everything with the with our oldest daughter. She's now almost well, she is 3 years seizure free, off of
Oh,
medicine and doing great.
praise the Lord. Thank
And
goodness.
so we actually, as soon as we got out of the hospital, we're like, okay, well, we need to pick back up on stuff. So we started cleaning again, and then God just provided clients. We ended up with enough to pay for rent and cover the bills, and he just provided it all.
That's
And
great.
so,
That's great. Well, I
yeah.
love that you shared that. All of us come at this from a different angle, but just to see how your path was kind of set for you, I think that's a beautiful story. And the trust that, you put in the Lord to just take you where you need to go and provide, that is so great. And it does take our effort too, right? And
Oh, it
so
does.
you right? Making big decisions like bringing on mentors and making investments in your business, those things. But wow, that is such a great. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so great.
Absolutely. It
And as
just,
you shared, it doesn't always go smoothly. The beginning can be very painful and hard, and getting through that. I always say, if you get through that first year or two, you're going to make it. You just got to keep
mhm.
plugging through. But
Yeah.
today we're going to talk about some grime because this is True Grime Stories, and we want to dig into some grime that you have. So today
Hmm.
we're going to do what we call grime scene analysis. So we're going to take a look at one of your grime scenes that you're willing to share and
Hmm.
kind of work our way through it and come up with some solutions that hopefully you can take back and maybe come back on a future episode and tell us how things have gone. So
Wonderful.
yeah, that would be great if you could do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's dig into your grime scene. What is going on in your business right now that is either holding you back or is, making you
Sure.
stuck where you're at or causing a lot of chaos or frustration? What is that grime scene?
Absolutely. So the thing that we struggle the most with is going to be hiring the right people. Because let's be honest, cleaning is not an easy job, right? It's
You're
easy to
right.
understand, easy to
Mhm,
follow, but tough in terms of the physical nature of it.
mhm.
And so we always want to make sure that we are hiring somebody who understands that,
Right.
right? So I tell them up front, I tell them in the interview, like, this is not, it's an easy to understand job, but it's physical in terms of the work that are doing.
Mhm.
Not impossible, right? We have plenty of cleaners who do it, but we found that oftentimes people will get through the first training they might pass according to the trainer, and then they get into the second week, and then they're like, I feel a little overwhelmed, and this is a lot, and I'm going to bounce. And we're like,
All
no.
right. Okay.
And
So,
so
and how, if you hired, let's say 5 people, how many of them are making it through to, 90, 30 to 90 days?
great question. So, in terms of our numbers, we've had probably 10 hires that have not made it to that point. And we only have a crew of recently, there were 5 cleaners who made it to that 90-day mark, right?
Okay.
We have a couple of cleaners that are in the, almost going on a year, one's going on
Mhm.
2 years, and stuff like that. So, um, and I don't know if it's just the level of detail that we're going into, if it's too much for them, or if they're just, I don't know. I don't know what it could be.
Yeah, yeah. So the problem is, just to make sure I understand it, is
Hmm.
you're hiring people, they make it through a week of training, which costs you a lot of time and money,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
then and then they get into their week 2 and later, and they're like, "No, I'm overwhelmed. This is too much. I don't like this job." All that.
Yeah. And throughout the whole process, we're doing check ins, one on ones, making sure that we're doing our best to make it as easy as possible for them.
Mhm.
Right.
And in week 2, so in week 1, they're with a trainer all the time, right?
Yep.
And then in week 2, are they on their own all of week 2 or most of week 2?
They're doing week 2. They'll do a job. And then we recently started bringing them in and doing like afternoon training in the office, where
Okay.
this is only for like 2 days, where we just go over procedural stuff and things that they might not have learned, or if they have any questions that they're running into
Mhm.
that I can help solve for them.
And
Um,
was that in response to the problem that you've been having?
It was.
Uh-huh.
So this is something that I've recently started doing with them. I heard from a girl down in whenever we went to retreat,
Mhm.
not retreat, when we went down to Clearwater.
Okay, yeah, one of
And
their
she
CBF
said that
events in January.
she started doing that and said that it helped with a lot of the feelings of overwhelm, right?
Mhm. Right,
Just because they know that the office has their back, right? If they're
right.
feeling that, that they have their back, and just kind of reinforcing those couple of things that we like to go over
Mm.
during that process of,
Probably helps
here's
them
the,
connect with you too, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Kind of feel another level of connection, not just with the trainer, but also with you or other leadership people
Hmm.
on your team.
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, you're starting to think about that and you're thinking, okay, you see the problem and you're searching for that solution.
Hmm.
And we're not sure if maybe we're bringing the wrong people on to start with, or
Hmm.
maybe there's something that's happening in the training, or both,
Right.
right? Right?
Yep.
So I like to look back and
Hmm.
say, okay, the last few people aren't sticking.
Hmm.
What what kind of things, what now looking back, did I see any red flags?
Right.
You know, like looking
Right.
back at their interview, looking back at their past experience, are you seeing any patterns there?
Um, so one thing that I've recently begun to see is some of the people have external factors that I wasn't accounting for, right?
Like what?
Like it could be one person, one of the recent hires had kids and he didn't have anybody to care for them. So he was having to call out, which caused chaos and stress.
Mhm.
And then we actually had to part ways with him because he wasn't able to make it to the job. Um,
Okay.
and so
And that's a
we
touchy
began to
one. Yeah.
screen for it up front. And then, but others were things that people just weren't willing to really full on share, like chaos just happening in external factors in their lives that, they don't feel comfortable bringing up in an interview with someone that they just recently met.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
But then it
one,
comes out, right?
it comes out, it came out, and eventually this one who, got their training, great workhorse, was showing up. She eventually stopped showing up. I had a couple of no call, no shows, and I was just like, I've had enough. I'm sorry. I got to let you go. But she
Mhm.
didn't make it to that 3 month mark. There
Yeah.
were a couple of others who, got through training, and then we were like, why did this person get through training? Like, I look at the cleaning that they're providing, and I'm like, this isn't us. This isn't what we do. So,
Mhm.
to be honest, it might be a little bit of both. Um,
So there's
and
there's something happening before they start during the screening and interview process, and then there's something happening during training week
right,
that isn't necessarily working, right?
right.
Okay. So they're kind of like not ready for prime time when they come out sometimes.
No. And I think that
Yeah.
causes a lot of that feeling of overwhelm. Um,
Mhm.
and I think a little bit,
Because it
it's a little
doesn't
bit of
feel
both.
good when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I had a call just a little while ago. She's on her, well, actually, I helped her out yesterday because we did a test house with her and I followed up.
Mhm.
And, like the floor was a mess. And there were areas of the house that were just missed. And I'm like, do you just not know? Is it not being covered? Are you not retaining it? Right. And so, I have a little bit of concern about her. And I know with what the moment that you have concern about somebody, you should just generally go with your gut. But also, part of me wants to see if it works out or not. But part of me also goes, it's time to let her go. So
Right. Sometimes you can save people, especially if it's like not their fault
yeah.
that, something was amiss with their training or something. Well, let's start at the beginning.
Hmm.
Um, do you have someone on your team who's a rock star right now?
I have quite a few.
Oh, that's awesome. We won't name any names, right? Because we don't want anybody to feel left out. But
Absolutely.
um, tell me about what makes someone a rock star.
So, in terms of for Rockstar for us, we always want to make sure that a couple of general factors are there:
Hmm.
attitude, willingness to also like if you have to be somewhat flexible. And I'm not saying like, oh, we're going to be throwing you around, but also there are monkey wrenches in cleaning, right?
Yeah, that's just
You
the
got to be on your
schedule. We hear
toes.
that a lot too. The schedule changes too much,
Hmm.
that, right? If somebody
Yeah,
calls off sick, we have to kind of pick up the slack
adjust.
and, you right?
Hmm.
Right?
And so they're willing to adjust and go with the punches. They're also, though, hard workers that understand and follow the routine, right? We follow speed cleaning.
Mhm.
And I told the same person, she got through training, and this is her second week. And yesterday, whenever she was doing the test house, she asked me, she's like, "Hey, can I have my bottles off of my apron?" I go, "No, those are part of your uniform. You need to wear them. It's going to make you a lot faster." And so and she's like, "They just weigh me down." And I'm like, "I understand they weigh you down. I get it. But also, that's just how we do it. That's how you're going to be
How
faster and
long
more
has she
efficient."
been with you at that point?
This is her second week.
Yeah. So,
I told her, I was
you
like,
know, she
it's
has to
something
get
to get
used
used
to
to.
it, right? It's
Yep.
something that you get used to, but then you realize, oh my gosh, if that bottle isn't in my apron, now I have to go to where my bottle is when I need it. And that every extra second disrupts your cleaning process, right? So, yeah,
So inefficient.
yeah.
And
People
so,
need to understand why, right?
yeah.
Why do I have to do this thing?
Hmm.
Um, okay, so the challenge here is to understand your ideal employee profile. Have you
Hmm.
taken the time to like write down the non-negotiables
We
that
have.
not just the you have to have a car and you have to have a phone and you have to be
Hmm.
available these hours, like who
Yeah.
the person is.
Right. And for us, character is something that is a non negotiable,
Mhm,
right? Because I tell everybody if you have at least a somewhat decent eye for detail, the rest can be trained, right?
mhm,
But, you know, sometimes people's character shows one way and starts out one way and then evolves over time and
mhm.
it truly begins to show. And
Right, yeah.
so,
A lot of
um,
times they don't reveal that 100% in the beginning, right? Everybody
right,
tries to put on their best face or a fake face
exactly.
during, their interview if they really want the job.
Yeah.
Um,
So we always look for someone who's like, you know, seems bright, has a great attitude, is not like overly bubbly, but like somewhat bubbly. We want them to have some an understanding of like their work ethic, right? I need them to be hard workers. You know, this is not a job where you're going to breeze through it and everything's going to be super easy. We also look for someone who not doesn't necessarily have a bunch of habits that I have to break. So I'm not
mhm.
looking for previous cleaning experience.
Which
Um,
that's for a lot of people in the cleaning industry, that's kind of a mental shift, right? You think, well, if they have cleaning experience, obviously they're going to be a great cleaner, but not necessarily. They're not going to clean the way you want them to, right?
right. I ran into that a couple of times. One lady, she goes, "I have 10 plus years, everything. I got you." And honestly, it's a great story because I trusted her to do what we did. She did not.
Yeah,
And
I've seen
so,
that too, for sure. Oh, I've seen that too, where when
yeah,
you hire someone who's really experienced, they sometimes are not teachable.
yeah,
And and we ha consistency is so important that you wanna make sure they're teachable, right? And
yeah.
I have hired experienced cleaners. I actually have an amazing person on my team right now who worked for another cleaning company before working with us, but that was we had that discussion. Are you willing to change the way you clean?
Hmm.
Because you
And
will need to do that.
part of me wonders if I'm asking enough good questions right up front, um,
Mhm.
and trying to get to the heart of who the person is,
Right.
because the last
Yeah.
thing I want to do is
Mhm.
just look at the trainer and be like, you're not doing it right. I always want to at least try to assess if I'm doing something first, because everything starts, like Debbie says, starts with the top and then works its way down. If
Right.
there's
We always have
chaos
to
in the
look in the
business,
mirror, don't we? Every time
yeah,
there's a problem in our business, that always starts with us.
yeah,
And so that's why I wanted to go all the way back to the beginning. And I'm going to go farther back than the interview,
hmm,
all the way back to first deciding who is that person I want to hire. And I
hmm,
like to look at the rock stars on my team. I do an ideal client, or excuse me, ideal employee profile.
hmm,
I create the avatar of
right,
who is that person and have 10 to 15 traits, not necessarily skills, but traits that you're looking for in that person. Once you know those things, then this is the challenge. Your job ad has to speak to that person,
hmm,
right? To get that
right.
candidate to come into your business. So now the next step is your job ad. So have you tweaked your job ad?
Oh yeah, we're constantly working on it. And one thing that we've really, really worked on is trying to analyze it and make sure that it's speaking to the right people.
Mhm.
Because before, I mean, I got some doozies of interviews, right?
I'm sure. Yeah.
You see it all. And so uh, I really wanted to dive in and kind of get to the bottom of. We work with we recruit for now,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so we worked with Rigo. We've been
One of the
tailoring
great
it,
companies out there that helps with hiring. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and we've been working with one of them for a while, and just kind of tailoring it, continuing to
Mhm.
tweak it and
Tweak it.
adjust, because for a while we were not getting good candidates.
All right,
We
so I have
saw
a
that.
question for you.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any of your team members take a look at your current job ad?
No.
Okay, so here's one thing I'm going to suggest to you to try. It's, it's so simple, but we often don't think about it.
Hmm.
Whoever your rock stars are, go to them and say, I'd really like you to take a look at something and help me with it. And it
Hmm.
makes them feel important when you do that. So
Right.
that kind of, lifts their spirits.
Hmm.
Say, I want more people on our team like you.
Hmm.
So would you take a look at our job ad and tell me what you think I need to change to get you to, if you were out looking for a job today, how would I get you to apply?
Got
So
it.
that people would know how much you love the job. And another great thing is to ask these rock stars, what is it you love? And make sure those phrases are included in your job ad. And
Hmm.
I think Woot Recruit is amazing. I have lots of other friends who are in the hiring space, Hire Lead Chill and,
Yep.
Pipe Hire. There's a lot of great ones out there, but we're talking about Ryan and Elizabeth's business right now. And who
Right.
knows Ryan and Elizabeth's business more than Ryan and Elizabeth and their team, right?
Yep. The only person I know is God, but that's it.
And God, of course, right? He knows it better than everybody. But
Yep.
right, so take some time. It's so easy to kind of rely on a service to do stuff for us,
Hmm.
but it's your business.
Right.
And you want people to feel your personality and your team's personality coming through that job ad. And I've had so many people say, your job ad blew me away. I
Hmm.
applied because of that, even including like a little testimonial from one of those people.
Hmm. I have a question for you. So
Mhm.
right now with stuff like our onboarding, we just have the generic onboarding video that goes with Woot. It's not necessarily us. Would you
Oh,
recommend having us do a video for it so that they can get to know us a little bit better?
100%. So yes, I did that myself. And the way I did that was I took I have worked with Woot Recruit and I've worked with other hiring platforms. And they're just so amazing. But I took their videos and I just basically re-recorded the script with me.
Hmm. Got it.
And I did add I did add like a core values video
Hmm.
and but I did, and they can accommodate that. Um,
Hmm.
and it does make a difference.
Okay.
And anything that you can do to get people to feel aligned with you, to attract people who are aligned with you, because
Hmm.
your culture that you're creating in your business is like a magnet. The more
Right.
you talk about it, it's going to attract the people you want and repel the people that don't agree with those values,
Right.
right?
And one thing that we found is I do ask people all the time, like, do you appreciate working here? Do you love working here? And
Hmm.
9 times out of 10, they all say yes.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, so it's not the business. I've had people go, y'all are great bosses. I go, so it's not us being the boss, then what's left, right? So I'm
right.
trying, like I said, trying to narrow it down a little bit to
Hmm.
make sure that it's, like we said, it's probably something within the hiring process and or the training
Right.
process.
So you want to get good candidates in the door, but you've
Mm.
also kind of identified that there is a point. Well, and then once you get them in the door, the interview has to reveal some things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So um, in your interview, are you getting people to just talk like about
Mm-hmm.
themselves?
Yeah, I always ask them questions that are directed towards like who they truly are, right?
Hmm.
That's what I really am trying to
Good.
get out of people.
Yeah.
And I often find that, and maybe it just boils down to rehearsal. But there are some questions that I'm like, oh, that's a great question, and then I forget to ask it. But the last thing I
Yeah.
want is a book of questions saying, all right, I'm going to read through this list of questions, you know, so
I don't
or
think
maybe
there's
that's
anything
just
wrong with having questions sitting in front of you.
no.
No, I always did.
Okay.
And I was visibly taking notes while they were talking, because you interview so many people and it's like hard to remember, if you interview five people, like which one said this or that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, having that list in front of you, making sure that if there are five questions that you definitely have to ask, that you don't miss them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's so easy to get off track, but I
Yeah.
love to get people talking with open-ended questions. Like, just
Mm-hmm.
tell me about what's important to you. And usually
Yeah.
that's when you find out they have kids and you find out that they have dogs and sometimes that you might find out that there's some kind of chaos going on in their family.
Right.
Um, One of my friends in the hiring business taught me a question to ask, and you may already be asking this one, but
Mm-hmm.
asking them, do you feel blessed or lucky?
Mm. I
Like,
asked something
not
similar.
either or, but in your life, do you feel blessed or do you feel like you have luck?
Right.
And because what that reveals about them is whether they're positive or negative, because we're all
Yeah.
fortunate to be living in this country and to have the freedoms that we do and roofs over our heads and, things like that.
Hmm.
Um, have you tried that question?
I do. Yeah, I do a
Yeah.
similar question of, do you find that good things tend to happen to you,
Oh, that's a good
right?
one. I love that one. That's good. Yeah.
Because for people who like, I have had one person. She told me, no, like my brother died, my family died, they all did drugs, they overdosed, and I'm like, okay,
My dog
right,
ran away and my truck broke down, right? And
exactly,
yeah, I know. Yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, you want to help people, but their problems are going to become your problems no matter what,
right.
right? No matter what. So it is important to get them talking, but make sure that your questions are also going after all those character traits on your profile. So make
Hmm.
sure you have a question for every single one of them. So
Hmm.
attitude is an important one, right? And you're looking for
Yep.
a positive attitude. So that question reveals attitude,
Right.
right? You talked about character, like character is who you are when nobody's looking, right?
Hmm.
So what's a good question for that? And go through all of your attributes and make sure you have a question for each one and have the list in front of you and check them off as you ask them. It's really okay to do that.
Okay, I'll do that going forward.
Or on
It'll
an
definitely
iPad or whatever. I'm pretty old school. I love paper, but um yeah. Okay, I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into one more thing about this before we start to create your action plan.
okay.
But let's take a little break here. We talked a little bit about CBF. You know, it changed your life, it changed my life, and I like to tell as many people about it as possible. So let's take a break and let's hear more about CBF, and we'll be right back to dig a little deeper into Ryan's grime scene. Is your cleaning business a grime story? There's no need to stay stuck in the muck because you're not alone. With over 500 active members and more than 500 graduates of our Cleaning Business Fundamentals program, CBF is the #1 cleaning business academy in the world and has created more mop free millionaires than any program in the industry. Learn more and let CBF take your residential cleaning business from a grime story to a gleaming success. Well, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, Ryan.
Thank
Uh,
you.
let's dig in this episode of True Grime Stories a little bit deeper into your grime scene. Ryan was
Hmm.
sharing, that, he's getting applicants, he's doing interviews, but the longevity of those employees after training is something that he's struggling with. So I like to go farther upstream. And if anybody has worked with me for any period of time, they hear the story about going upstream to figure out what's coming downstream at us. So we went all the way back to talking about understanding who you want on your team,
Hmm.
adjusting your job ad appropriately, right? And adjusting your interview questions. But now that team member is on your team.
Right.
What's it? How do they get? Do you have an orientation process? How do they get
Hmm.
like onboarded?
So the onboarding process, and it's honestly something that I've looked at and I want to tweak a little bit. Um, I don't feel it's important enough, right?
Okay.
I want to make a bigger deal out of it.
Does it
Um,
happen on day one or does it happen before that?
we send out like onboarding videos and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then we bring them in day one. And for day one, we meet probably an hour before the first job.
Okay.
And they're meeting with the trainer. They're going over the cleaning tech binder, which is a binder that we use. It just has a lot of information through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're talking about the day, what to expect, and stuff like that.
Okay.
But part of me feels like it doesn't make them feel special enough. And it's very boring.
That's a problem, right? And it's
Yeah.
so easy for that to happen. Same thing. I'd be doing orientation. I'd look up and their like eyes are glazed over and they're trying to like stifle a yawn, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, so that is a challenge. So
Right.
I'm glad that you recognize that.
Hmm.
And you want to think about who do you want them to be, right? So just tell me who you want them to be 30 days from now.
For us, and I tell all of my cleaners, cleaning is about confidence and trusting in yourself that you can follow a process through and through,
Hmm.
right? You understand what needs to be done. And I want you to go out there with confidence, knowing and excuse my French, but you're a damn good cleaner, right? And
Yeah.
I want to be able to instill in them that confidence and not have to worry about, them out there going, what do I do here? Have I been taught enough? I want them to be able to go out 30 days from now and feel confident in their abilities and know for certain that they are a true professional cleaner, not just someone who goes, I'm a cleaner, I have a job. No, I want them to know they have a career and something that's important and making an impact.
Yeah. You were going where I was going. Okay. You said the word impact. That was going to be my next question. How do you tell them the impact of the work that they do? And when do you tell them about that?
I try to tell them as soon as possible, right?
Mhm.
And help them to understand, like, even on the interview process, as we're just chatting about the business, right? They always ask, like, how is the business and everything like that. I go, with this business, sometimes you don't always hear the impact that you're making from the clients, right? They're not always going to tip. They're not always going to rate you on applause or whatever it may be. A lot of that does have to come internally as well. You have
Those
to
of you who are
know,
listening, Applause is another great app. Go check it out.
yes, it helps all of our cleaners also. It's torment
For
some. So,
feedback and tips, and yeah, it's a great tool.
yeah, thank you for the clarification there.
Yeah. We
So,
we just think we know what we're talking about, but somebody might not know, so we wanna make sure and clarify that. But yeah, so you want them to understand that their job has an impact,
yeah,
and you want them to understand what you want for them, right?
exactly. And just sitting here thinking through our job ad, I'm not sure that, like, we include the cleaning for a reason, right? Which is Debbie's program for free
Mhm.
cleanings for cancer patients, right?
Right.
And we include that, but I'm not sure there's enough emphasis on the importance of what a cleaner provides for each individual home, right?
Right.
And so um, I'd have to relook at it again, but I think we can provide a little bit more emphasis there.
Right. One of my friends years ago said this, and I'll never forget it. He said, "We don't hire cleaners, we hire hearts."
Hmm. Yeah.
And we want people to be on this team where this job is going to mean something to them. We want to make it meaningful and fulfilling. I was just reading an article in Harvard Business Review. It's one of my favorite magazines. Again, I'm old school. I like magazines. And but they were talking about how jobs that matter make a difference in people's lives, and people will stay longer if they feel like what they
Yes.
do matters,
Yeah.
and that they matter to people who work there and the people outside the job. So if you want to make your orientation not boring, but inspiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get them excited about how they're going to make a difference in the lives of people, how they're going to be part of this team. Um, I like to tell people we don't clean houses, we make lives better,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't, it's not about the cleaning, it's about the impact. It's not about the clean sink, it's about how it feels to have a clean sink,
Yes.
right? And so if you take a look at your orientation and how you can put more into that, another great story that I heard from one of my mentors, Darren Hardy, he talked about giving people an A from day one, like telling them, I hired you because I know you are an A player.
Mm-hmm.
Like giving, it's like going to school, and on the first day of school, you get a report card with an A on it. And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? Your only job is to hold on to the A, right? But we tend in our industry to give people a C on day one,
Right.
basically tell them, we don't expect you to be good at first. You're going to learn how to be an A player.
Yeah.
And we make them earn the A. But if we give them the A from the beginning and tell them, I hired you, I got 100 applications and I hired you out of
Mm-hmm.
100. You are one out of 100,
Yeah.
which is often true, correct?
Oh, oh,
It's a numbers game,
it is a numbers game, and the amount of people we hire is few and far between.
right? Easily you get at least 50 applications for one great hire, right?
Yeah.
Telling people that, like you're that special,
Yeah.
that you're one in 100, and like really that day building them up so that they come into it with the confidence on day one, not in day 6, right?
Right.
And then make sure that the trainers understand that too,
Yeah.
right? And
I
so that's
recent
kind of the next step.
I recently told that to one of our trainers. Is I go, you have to instill confidence in the cleaners, right? And a phrase that I always like to, and I like to do it, especially if like a cleaner is struggling or
Mhm.
if they're missing something. I like to tell them, like, you know, I know that you can meet the expectations that we have set before you.
Yeah.
because we hired you,
Right.
right?
You're giving them
Otherwise,
that confidence.
I would not have hired you if I didn't believe that you can meet it,
Yeah.
right?
Good. Good.
So we do definitely like to instill that in them.
Mhm.
Um, and I will say, with, and I think I used to do a lot of the training, right? I'm recently, within the last couple of months, like completely out of the field and not working.
Congratulations,
Which is,
Mr. Mop Free.
yep.
Yeah.
First it was my wife, and then
Uh-huh.
she was like, "Ryan, you're such a good worker. I'm going to keep you out there because we need the cleaners." I'm like,
Right.
"Okay." And so
Well,
juggling the,
congratulations to you both.
thank you. It's like I said, game changing, wonderful,
Mhm.
and so. But I also think part of the issue was me whenever I was training people. I got tired of having so many people pass and leave or not pass. And I might have gotten a little resentful. Like,
Mhm.
what? This isn't going to go well. And, I just was tired of it,
Mhm.
which is when I finally just decided to pass it off to somebody else. And I told everybody at the team meeting, I'm like, I cannot train a single person more.
Yeah. Well, trainers do burn out, and you have to be careful of that. Be very cognizant of that because it can happen to your trainers as well,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
How many trainers do you have on your team of 7?
I have two now.
Oh, good. Good.
Um, because recently we heard about like, what can happen if you lose a key player, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And we realized that we had too many key players, and if one of them was gone, it just was not going to go well. It could cause me to go back out in the field, or,
Right. That happens a lot. That's how a lot of people end up going back, right?
yep. So
Yeah, good.
we do have two, and I do once a month trainer meetings where I like to check in on them, make sure they're still enjoying the job, and stuff like that.
And
You
how are
know,
you training your trainers?
Honestly, I don't know that I have enough emphasis on the training part. I
Mhm.
do at the trainer meeting. I always like to go over like a couple of key things that helped me whenever I was training, right?
Mhm.
That I found success from. Um, and we always go through the train the trainer, right,
Good.
program,
Good. That's
and
great.
we always make sure that we're checking in. We're providing a lot of just additional like reinforcement.
Mhm.
One thing we're about to do is just retraining for everybody, right?
I think that's
Because
great. I mean, we all need that.
one of our uh, the techs that has been with us the longest, methods have changed since she was started, and
Mhm.
I realized recently, I go, oh gosh, I have not put her back through training, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Retraining is I mean, training should never end, right? It should
right.
always it starts actually before people even start working for you. You're already starting to condition them, so it should be a constant all the time thing.
Hmm.
Um, and one thing that I found, and this may be really helpful for you too, is you mentioned that they come out and they aren't ready. And this was happening to me too years ago and still will occasionally happen. And what I found is when they're working with a trainer, they get really comfortable having another person in the house with them.
Hmm.
And then that first house that they go out and clean by themselves is really scary because I might forget something or
Yep.
whatever. So, uh, what I found we were doing, the mistake that we were making, and this was a grime scene for me too, was I was training my solo cleaners how to work on a team. Training week teaches them to work on a team. It does not teach them to be solo. And so what we did, and this may be a good thing for you to do, is to put the emphasis on, I'm going to teach you how to be a solo cleaner and
Mm.
teaching your trainers to teach your employees to be solo cleaners, not to work alongside them.
Mm-hmm.
not for them to lean on their trainer so much. And for
Yeah.
the trainer to be putting emphasis on asking questions like, okay, when you're in a house by yourself, tell me what you're going to do next. Like, have them start to teach back by day 3, 4, and 5. Have the trainee telling the trainer what they're going to do next instead of saying, what should I do next? What should I do next? What should I do next?
Right.
Because they're not learning
They're
if we're
relying.
they're relying on that trainer.
Right. We had a employee at one point. Her name was Sarah, and I remember the story. She got into a house solo, and the house is not the easiest house. Like, I'll fully admit. Um,
Mhm.
and I remember getting the call, and she was in a full-on, like, almost panic attack.
Mm.
And I was like, I am so sorry. Like, what can I do to help? You know.
Yeah.
Um, and it turns out like they're really. I tried to go up there. I helped try to retrain her, and she goes, "This just isn't the job for me." And I was like, "Hmm, okay."
Yeah. And
And
that kind
go
of
ahead.
surprise and, like moment of panic, probably may have put her over the edge,
Yeah.
Some people aren't meant for this job, of course. And that's what training is
Right.
supposed to do. It is it's the next screening tool, right?
Right.
There's the application, then there's the interview, then there's the training. Those are all screening tools. Your trainer should be trying to screen those employees while they're working with them. But
Mm-hmm.
taking a very serious look at your training program and making sure that you are preparing them for day 6,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a 5-day training program. On day 6, this is what day 6 is going to look like. So we want you to be ready for that.
Right.
So that when you walk in the door, you know right what to do. So
Yeah.
having the trainer kind of walk them through so that they can teach back how to
Mm-hmm.
clean a house from beginning to end. Because I know when I learned how to clean, I learned to clean from someone else. And my first house by myself, I was lost
Yeah.
because I didn't have someone there telling me what to do next.
Right. I do have a question for you.
Mhm.
So we have we have an employee, and she will do it. It's a little inconsistent, right?
Mhm.
And she recently got their training and stuff like that. But I often find that she will ask questions, forget, ask questions again, same question, forget, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But it also seems like the job is important to her,
Yeah,
right?
she
That she
cares
is
enough to be
trying,
asking. Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
What would you do in that scenario where
Well,
you
sometimes
see?
it helps to just ask the employee, "What do you think you need to make you more confident in your job?"
Hmm.
I do encourage people that when you ask a question, also bring me the answer.
Okay.
Don't just feed them the answer because when you feed them the answer, they don't retain it because you're
Right.
just going to be there to answer it the next time.
Okay. Yeah.
So tell me what you think you should do. And if they don't have it right, correct them and say, okay, now tell it back to me.
Great piece of advice.
Yeah. So, because what that does is let's get in science here. We've got these neurons and they create these
They got
synapses,
a
I think,
fire.
right?
Yeah.
And we need to create that connection for them. And so it's when they do the teach back and you give them a high five, that the high five is also very
Reinforce
important.
it.
That last little bit of, I lost the name of the chemical, but yeah, that
Dopamine.
the dopamine hit, like that cements the deal and it creates that connection, right? So we want
Got
to
it.
make sure we do that. All right. So we talked about a lot of stuff today, Ryan.
Yeah.
I I hope you've got some good ideas going forward. So
Definitely.
just thinking about like what we talked about today, what are some of your action items going forward to deal with this grime scene of, the short-term employees?
So I think a lot of it is going to boil back to, well, there are a couple. So one is definitely going to be making sure I have my questions and those questions are going to be focused around my ideal client or employee, pardon me.
Mhm.
And then from there, I really want to begin to create an emphasis on the cleaners knowing the impact that they make, but also building their confidence a lot more and instilling in them that confidence. Because some people just, they need to have that reinforcement,
Yeah,
but also allowing them to come to the answers like we just talked about, right?
right.
And creating somebody who's not relying on me for answers or relying on the trainer for answers, but can know maybe I can problem solve myself.
Yeah, I mean, when they solve a problem for the first time and you're like, that's exactly the right answer. I'm glad you asked to check with me to make sure you were right, but that is exactly the right answer. You
Hmm.
are doing such a good job,
Yeah,
and it immediately makes that connection for them. And they hold on to that information, or at least they're more likely to, let's just say. I
right.
can't guarantee that 100%, but it does really help.
Yeah,
And it took me a long time to learn that because we know the answer, so we just freely give it.
right.
But then we're not making them use their brain, and then they don't remember, they don't retain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as a teacher, I like to ask people, okay, well, then what do you think the solution is? I was just in a meeting this morning and
Hmm.
I did that like 5 times the meeting. Well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Um, like when you ask me a question, I'm going to say, what do you think? A lot of times. I didn't do that a lot with you today because we have limited time, but
Hmm.
okay. So you've got some action items going forward.
Hmm.
What's your goal? What's your big
Uh,
goal?
are we talking goal for like the year? Or are we talking
Yeah.
immediate goal? Where do we?
So what's a short-term goal
Mhm.
from today? But then where do you want to take this business?
Great, great question. So short-term goal is definitely going to be I need to get completely overhired. We
Yes,
always have just
100%.
plus one, right?
Yeah.
But I found a great applicant today. I told her I'm going to give her the offer, and it scares me a little bit because we don't have enough clientele for the plus two. But I think I need to definitely take the risk, especially if one person doesn't work. Then all of a sudden I'm back where I was.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah. And it happens so fast.
so fast, and so what that's immediate, get over hired. The other immediate is definitely going to be to start marketing more. If you ask
Mhm.
me, my other bottleneck, it is definitely marketing, because we have, it's a very interesting area, Google Ads. We talked with Granger and we talked with a couple of other places. And they're like, I can't even run your ads for you because you're already at the top and there's not a whole lot I can do for you. I'm like,
Yeah.
great,
Marketing and hiring go together, right? You
they
have to
do.
be doing both to grow.
You
So
do.
yeah, that's another grime scene that many people struggle with as well. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. And so we are in a smaller area. So I'm gonna have to, we recently realized that Facebook's going to be our best friend.
Yeah.
So
Good.
we're going to start doing that. In terms of long term goals and kind of where we want to take Golden Rule Cleaning Co., is uh, definitely creating it as like more of a brand and having a couple of different locations, is something that's in our to do list. But we're talking like 3 to 5 years down the line, right? We have to
Right.
hit
Yeah.
the,
Get
we
the
have to hit
one
the,
running on its own and then
correct.
jump to the next, right? You always want to get the first one running smoothly.
Correct, right? That's what we're working on. So we're systematizing everything, making sure that, it can run with us without us for not with fully without us, right? We still have to be there, but it can run without us for in a longer extended period of time. We recently took our first vacation. So we went on
Congratulations.
a Disney cruise and our girls loved it. But we were
Ooh.
gone for a couple of days, but I still had to work a little bit. So I wasn't fully away, but it's a baby step. So,
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, we all have done that. I've done payroll in the Caribbean. So,
yep.
yeah, for sure. Well, I believe that you are going to get there.
Thank you.
And, it's taking the time to take a look at what we're doing,
Hmm.
like you did today. We just have to analyze what we're doing. And sometimes it helps to have somebody ask us questions through that. That's where coaching is so helpful, where
Yep.
mentoring is so helpful, or even just with another cleaning business owner. to
Right.
compare notes like you did at that recent conference. So I want to thank you, Ryan, for opening yourself up to some coaching today and just walking through your
Absolutely.
process. I think a lot of other people are going to find that helpful too. Like, oh, I need to think about this and think about that. So
Right.
um, I think this can be very helpful for lots of other people too. So I can't wait to hear the results.
Well, thank you.
So, let me know if you start to see some change in your business. I'd really love to hear back from you, and maybe we'll have you back in, 6 months or so and see where uh Golden Rule Cleaning Co is at that point. We'd
Yeah,
love to hear more. So,
absolutely.
well, thank you so much, Ryan. I really appreciate your time with us today. And I want to just thank our audience. Thank you, everyone, for supporting True Grime Stories. You're the ones that are keeping this podcast going. I hear great comments, and I'd love to hear more. And be sure and share this with your friends in the cleaning business, and be sure to come back next time for our next episode of True Grime Stories. And if you want to learn more about coaching, about cleaning business fundamentals, feel free to use the link in our show notes to set up a free call with me. I would love to talk with you about your business or your new business plans. So thanks again, Ryan. Looking
Absolutely.
forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thank you. Me as well.
Thanks. All right, everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye. That's a wrap on today's True Grime Stories. Thanks for joining us in uncovering the secrets of cleaning business success. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and download, and check out our show notes for links and info from today's episode, and to learn more about our sponsor, Cleaning Business Fundamentals. Join us next time as we solve another True Grime story.